Hold on. Yeah, there it is, man. Education is elevation. Shout out to everybody tuned in right now. It's about to be tuning in right now. Got the homie back. Far as my glasses crooked, my shit looking a little. I'm tripping. I'm
You
tripping.
saw
Hey, shout out to I got my boy Farmer back, man. Somebody that's ground zero right now in Minneapolis, being able to really talk about what's going on in Minneapolis, man. Give it up for the homie. Y'all familiar last time. I know y'all liked the conversation that we was able to bring. What was that like 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
something like that, something like that.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Your camera clearing up for us right now. I try to put it in 4K. You
You
know what
feel
I'm saying?
me?
I try to put it in 4K. You know, jumping right into it though, bro. What is the main thing you want people to know right now as we seeing all these different crazy videos come in about Minneapolis? What is like the main thing you feel me that you want to start this conversation with in terms of conveying to my audience and for the other people that's watching of what's going down?
It's incredibly surreal to be quite literally under occupation from your own federal government, like within the state. And it truly feels like an occupation with the chemical irritants that they're using, with the ways in which they're organizing, with the
Hold on, okay. So
tactics
hold on,
that
hold
they're
on. Let's, like,
doing.
let's not gloss over that part. You said chemical what?
Oh yeah, like there was so I shot another person a couple of
Mhm.
days ago, after they murdered Renee Good, which was after the conversation that we've had to just show like how rapid things are moving. And during this time, they were these like huge, like almost comically green plumes of smoke that were being deployed in lieu of tear gas, and it was way more powerful than like most tear gas people experienced before. And so folks looked into what that substance was, and they found out that it was this like carcinogenic, like cancer causing agent that they use to essentially like clear out the spaces really quickly. And it was like some of this, like if you see some of the videos, especially when they're dropping those chemical irritants, like you can't tell me that looks any different than any other occupation anywhere else in the globe. And it's literally here. And it's like the last time we had the conversation, I remember being like upset, and I remember thinking like, wow, I never thought this could happen. And then just to see how quickly things have escalated beyond my wildest dreams. Like we had so many just side conversations about the implications of things.
Yeah.
And like those implications are now quite literally reality in the way that like I feel so naive even a couple of weeks ago thinking that people would care about the difference between a judicial warrant and an administrative warrant. Like they clearly don't, and because they proved it when they went to a family in North Minneapolis and presented them with an administrative warrant, and the person was able to like quickly say, like, this is not an administrative, this is not an arrest warrant. Like the warrant has to have United States District Court on the top. All the things that they were taught in all of those like super nice know your rights videos, right? And they said, "Oh, word, got you." Busted the door down, and then still
Yeah.
went and got the person that they were coming for anyway.
Yeah, and
And
somebody in the
so
audience wants to know, can you explain exactly what you mean by occupations and what occupations are here?
yeah, like when a federal government sends troops into an area to occupy civilian, like to harm civilians and to kidnap civilians and to quite literally try to take land for their own material gain, that is an occupation. And it's not an exaggeration in the sense
Yeah.
when threatening the Insurrection Act, the threatening of the Insurrection Act is to declare martial law so that they can be able to fully federalize the state of Minnesota, right? That
Definitely.
threat has the implication of occupation, right? And so the first bits of that is already in play, and we're dealing with the consequences of that, dealing with the fact that an ICE agent can literally murder a civilian in broad daylight where
Yeah.
everyone sees it, And then instead of actually like any type of accountability happening to them, you have 3 of the top DOJ prosecutors.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I was trying to be nice about it, but the gentleman that's in the comment section that's asking these questions, they're one of those contrarians that's really just trying to get attention. They believe that Renee Good was put themselves in harm's way, and what I say to people like that is, you try to be an intellectual, acting like you know and understand the parameters of the law. But there is a reason why these white folks taught us about soldiers being quartered, being tarred and feathered, because they felt like that was an example of harsh and unusual punishment. So when we start talking about the federal government that's supposed to uphold the Constitution, which includes the Bill of Rights, we understand that harsh and unusual punishment is unconstitutional. So even if you did not see what we seen, even if you want to play imaginary games and you believe that Renee jumped in front of a car or she was trying to run somebody over, that does not permit death. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it just shows the selective ethical moral outrage. And to me, you specifically, is something that you have an obsession with me, this person specifically, because I ain't gonna say your name, that's what you really want. You know what I'm saying? But your obsession with me, let me alone. Unhand me, please. Let me go.
But even then, they're telling on themselves, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They're telling on themselves, right? Because like even in that point, if you're saying that she's putting herself in harm's way, then you're acknowledging the fact that like our federal government is a harming force. So like if I'm interacting with my own government, right, and how am I putting myself in harm's way? I'm doing a constitutionally protected action, right? So first of all, he's already shown that they don't actually believe that they believe that Renee was harmed by. But to be this, even then, hold on, even then, right? What he's really saying is that he's a fucking coward, right? That's what he's actually saying. That he does not have the temerity to do what a middle-aged soccer mom white woman would do and actually stand for a fucking community that isn't her own. So if you're too cowardly to understand that when people are being kidnapped in the middle of the fucking day and like, cool, you're telling on yourself. You're telling on yourself, right? And if you want to be a coward, then say that shit. But you don't gotta say that and be that. You ain't gotta sugarcoat it. Stay your little cowardly ass the fuck away while people actually handle their business and try to make sure that we can live to values and the merits of this land that they claim to be. You feel me? And it's like, cool. And now he's probably gonna, you feel me, type a lot more because they've gotten their little bit of attention, right? And make a whole bunch more arguments that don't make a lick of fucking sense. You feel me? But they are not the people that I'm worried about. The people that I am worried about are the people in my community right now that are being occupied by their federal government. The president of this country threatened the Insurrection Act that puts martial law, which would put federal troops on the ground here in this country. You feel me? And if that doesn't give you pause, then you live in a level of delusion that drugs can't make. You feel me? Like you got it. Your little like delusional bubble island box.
Hey, I just think that enjoy it. He's shucking and jiving, man. Shucking and jiving. The white folks not gonna choose you. They're not gonna pick you at all.
I don't got the energy. Like shit's not funny right now, bro. Like shit ain't funny right now. Shit ain't got the time for I think for people that's coming in right now, it's important context that people need to get in when you're coming in right now. You in the comment section and you being cutesy. This is far right now. His family, his community is Minneapolis. So what you seen on your timeline of people from the Bay, where he live at right now, and he got family in there. He live right now where he lay his head at, where he paying bills at. You feel me? Where he doing organizing at is in Minneapolis. So when you get in the comment section, please have the understanding that the human response of you playing games and trying to be a clout chaser and trying to be, you feel me, an attention hoe. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I ain't got attention hoe. You know what I mean? Like we ain't got time for it. This right here, what I say though, because I think that sometimes people are ignorant to what's going on, and they can be loud and wrong based off of ignorance. So what I'm finna do right here is use my platform to just educate a little bit more on what's going on. You feel me? I'm finna show you an interview, or I'm finna show a testimony of this woman that's giving an account of what. Hold on, go a different way of specifically what she experienced when she was in captivity by the American government. You know, there are a bunch of ways people gonna use euphemisms, people gonna use whataboutisms, people gonna use different ways to try to get themselves out of the reality that we're living in. And the thing about reality is, regardless of how much you want to put your head in the sand and ignore what's going on, it doesn't change the reality around us. It doesn't change that we have federal agents that are acting with immunity because the Department of Homeland Security said nobody better not fuck with you because you're going to do what you want to do.
right here. We have ICE holding cells specifically for U.S. citizens. I'm finna play the entire interview. I want the whole context to be understood, and then we're gonna have a conversation. Far, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
When we got to the Whipple Federal Building, I immediately saw Hispanic and East African people lined up against a wall, about to be put into holding cells. I was escorted into the building and led to a room where they put me in ankle shackles. I was then taken to a hallway with cells designated for U.S. citizens and was held there for over 8 hours. While I was there, I was never given a phone call, despite asking at least 4 times. My friend and I in adjacent cells had to beg for water and to go to the bathroom. The bathrooms were in different holding cells, often with other people in them, with only a 3-foot panel in front of the toilet to cover people's bottom halves. While being escorted to the bathroom and to questioning, I saw holding cells with over a dozen people each and a large holding cell of between 40 to 50 people. Most of the people there were Hispanic and East African, both women and men. Some cells had no room for people to sit or lay down. Most people I saw were staring straight ahead, not talking, despondent and grief-stricken. And I know I'll never forget their faces.
Just when you describe concentration camps and slave catcher-like tactics happen to American citizens with no due process, with no motive other than they wanted to record somebody. The thing that I feel like people be purposely obtuse about is that when I start talking about Black people uniquely being impacted by the mass deportation agenda, you smoking dope and dog food if you believe the only way niggas being impacted if they actually deported. When you think about, you know what I'm saying, Kevin Porter that was shot by this, you know what I'm saying, ICE agent, he didn't have to be deported to be shot. I seen footage of this Black woman in Minneapolis, bro, where she recording ICE. They crash her car, pull her out the vehicle. She's screaming, I have an ID, I have an ID. You feel me? When you got shucking and jiving white supremacist sympathizers like the person in the comment section that want my attention, they'll look past all these things that is illegal, unconstitutional, unethical, just to be able to make a point because they believe they get some type of self-worth off of being a contrarian, or they believe that being a contrarian is a symbol or a way to show they, you know what I'm saying, intellect. All it showed me is that your character, you know what I'm saying, is really lacking. And the last thing I'll say to you specifically, Mr. Brother, sir, right now, I feel like now you are starting to impact the experience of my virtual classroom. So if you continue to conduct yourself as being a little asshole, a little shithead, I'm going to kick you out of my classroom. I hope that's very understood. I hope that's like simply communicated to you. You feel me? Right now, you are a part of the research of a Me Search classroom experience. And if you want to be, you feel me, a little class clown, there's a million different content creators out there for you. And maybe I'm not for you. I'm an acquired taste. I'm not for everybody. You see what I'm saying? So if you want me to shuck and jive for white supremacy, it's not the page for you. You know what I mean? We ain't got time at all. The last thing I say is this. To you and people that think like you, at this point, what has happened in Minneapolis is way bigger than Renee Good. Renee Good is just one of the many examples of how ICE and how the different law enforcement that's cooperating with ICE is violating American citizens' rights. Whether we talking about ICE retaliating against an American citizen, putting out their camera, what has been some of the things you have seen since you've been in Minneapolis? I know you in the streets right now in terms of protesting. You're an activist. I know you do a lot of community work. I know that's, I'm saying, you're a Somali. I know Somali communities uniquely being hit. You was telling me about some things happening tomorrow. Getting into what we got, you know what I'm saying, going on, you know?
I mean, even to the, like, just the last thing I want to put onto that point, right? Because like there has been the large conversation within a certain perspective of Black folks. A lot of what we was talking about in the last conversation, right? How like the right gets people to think against their own self-interest by thinking that like their experiences are incredibly unique and they're not a part of the larger experience, right?
Right.
Remember that green gas that we was talking about earlier in the conversation, that carcinogen gas, that
Yep.
CS gas, right? So in North Minneapolis is one of the largest Black communities within the Midwest, period, but it's the largest Black community here in the North and within Minneapolis, right? And that's where the gentleman was shot the other night, right? And so while all this is going on, bro's sitting in his car, has 6 kids in his car. His wife is in the car. The gas gets all the gas is starting to get in the windows. Now all the kids got to go to the hospital. You feel me? He may not even know what's going on. He may not have any understanding of what ICE is, or like may have no bearing on the conversation. It's simply in his car in his own neighborhood, and now percentage of gas is starting to get into the car, has to take his children to the hospital, right? That's what we mean by the fact that when we say occupation impacts all, whether you want to be a part of it or not. When you're occupied, you're not asked your consent before you're occupied. They've simply occupied. You feel me? And if you want to think that you're going to be the last one in line, enjoy that shit. You feel me? But I much more would rather have a strong united front in the beginning so that we can push back before there's so few of us left that last line of defense is silly string. For sure. Right? Like there's a level of aggression and there's a level of escalation that's occurring here that is putting people at the point where it's delusional to not respond. And then the response becomes the justification for the entire power of the state to then fall upon you. And so it's like, shit, like I'm human. I'm going to have the human interaction and the human response of knowing that this is beyond the scope of acceptability. Some little, actually ass white boy can decide, okay, cool, I'm going to make this YouTube video that ain't got shit on shit, but somehow that is going to create the entire power of the state to send 15% of border patrol into an inland area that ain't got no border within the 200 miles of us, but 15% of all of border patrol is here. Bovino's little Lucky Charms mascot looking ass is over here doing photo ops wherever he possibly can, has 16 agents stand outside the bathroom when he needs to take a piss, right? But we have to bear the brunt of that. Our community has to bear the brunt of that, right? And then the most insidious part of it all, as the brutality comes and as the brutality hits members of the Somali community at a disproportionate rate, the people who actually feel the weight of the state, the people who are being kidnapped by the state are the Latin community. You feel me? They're the ones that are often being the ones that are actually picked up in these spaces, right? Because of the fact, as we talked about in the last conversation, most of the Somali community that are here are citizens. So ultimately, after they're picked up, brutalized, fucked with for a little bit, then let right back out, they go and find a couple Latino people to go pick up so they can hit their quotas so that at the end of the day, at the end of the week, they can still report to Fox News, we got 400 arrests. It don't matter where those arrests came from. It don't matter if it's in line with any of the logic, right? They still got that number. They're still able to tell you what you see right now is not what you're seeing. Before a little dumb boy got us kind of cut off from what we were talking about, right? The point that I was making, was a very important point. You got 3 DOJ agents that were the individuals that were investigating the fraud in the first place, right? So if the fraud was the whole argument for this whole thing, you got the 3 people that were the heads of that all resigned on the same day because the DOJ said, fuck investigating the ICE agent that actually shot the lady. I need y'all to build a case on his wife. I need y'all to build a case on her wife. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. We're at the point where ICE agents are leaving the federal building in hijabs so that they can blend in more in community and have less individuals doing the whistles and the noise making so they can kidnap people in peace. That's where we're at. And again, we talked like 2 weeks ago, bro. Like it wasn't even that long ago. If that. I don't even think it was 2 weeks ago. I don't even think it was 2 weeks ago. But the thing, they throw so much at you that you're not able to keep up, and so the shit escalates so quickly. You're a crab in the water. You don't even realize when you're being boiled until you've already been boiled.
And it's the reason why, like, I made a video yesterday. You know what I'm saying, by Cory Booker, because he's proposing a bill that wants to give ICE body cameras. And make sure they're unmasked and make sure that we have an independent, service that can give them investigations. And for me, it's just like, hey, this reflects that you and your team didn't learn much from how police and how police and entities, police and apparatuses, like they are able to kill, and them having a mask on, a mask off, or having a body cam or not having a body cam is not responsive to thinking of the reality that we in. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we think about what happened to Renee Good, does Renee Good live if this ICE agent does not have a mask on? What? That's the reason why she was murdered? Because he was masked? Or the reason why she was masked is because he didn't have a body cam. He had a cell phone camera. And that cell phone camera, that camera footage, you know what I'm saying? That camera footage is being used by a lot of people to justify what happened to her. So the idea that we're going to be able to pass a law and this law is going to be able to say that the reason why ICE is doing this is because they can be trained more. Man, Stephen Miller said message to ICE was really to the public. Man, I'm going to go read the message. You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts on that while I put his message up?
It's like they have a vested interest in telling you what you see is not what you believe in order to be able to take that power. And the more that they're able to take that power from you, the more that you don't even realize, like, you don't realize where things have gotten until they've already gotten to that point, right? And Stephen Miller and his ilk are clearly telling you what they're going to do. They told you already what they're going to do, right? But because we have this weird delusion, we continue to tell ourselves they don't actually mean that. They're telling you, nah, bro, I mean it, and I'm doing it. But we're like, nah, they don't actually mean that, right? And so then we'll do these bills that treat the symptoms, because then by treating the symptoms, that allows us to still have the moral high ground. We did something. We really fought, but we didn't actually move the needle any sort of way, because in order for us to move the needle, we have to acknowledge the actual brutality of the state. And in order to acknowledge the brutality of the state, they have to acknowledge their complicity in that brutality. And that's way too big of a cross for them to bear.
And going a step further, that bill also perpetuates the legitimacy of ICE and says that the reason why you have a ability to warrant to patrol these streets as long as you got a mask and a body camera.
For sure.
And it also absolves the state from accountability that says the only reason why these agents are being racist and moving like slave patrol and being able to, you know, racially profile people is because they just need a little more training and some body cams and can't take them, got to take their mask off. To me, it's thinking about this happened in Minneapolis. During Minneapolis, a bunch of the public was thinking about and talking about the way that Black suffering uniquely is always justified by police violence, and not just police in terms of a police officer, but thinking about how all the entities of policing always leads to Black suffering. In this instance, it's like, hey, do you think that if Derek Chauvin would have had not a mask on, it would have changed something? You think if Derek Chauvin would have not had a body cam, it would have changed something? He had a body cam, he wasn't masked, nigga still died. So to me, it's showing your solvency, your plan is unresponsive to the harms that's happening within the status quo. It is literally, it does nothing. The only thing, not only does it circumvent the shit you trying to resolve for, it perpetuates the legitimacy of the people that's doing it. But people like Cory Booker right here is just like, I want to know, why do you have much more of a material response for if you feel that Israelis are experiencing structural violence, you give them defense funds. When you see American citizens are experiencing structural violence, you want to give them reform and training. What is the difference between these two? One of these gets symbolic material strategies, or no, one of these gets symbolic strategies that is absent of material action. And the other one, you know what I'm saying, gets some actual funds, gets some actual defense. And to me, this is illustrating all the issues that I have specifically with Democrats, established Democrats specifically. And I think that what a lot of my audience has an issue with this is that right now, our general public getting their head bashed in. We getting people, hey, what's important? For the people on Twitter specifically, that's going to be like, that Black man shouldn't have had his kids over there. The context of what happened, he was leaving a basketball game, going home. He's not going and taking his newborn 5-month child to go and protest. He's trying to go home.
But even, and here's the
ironic point. Even if he was trying to go, that is supposed to be his right. So it's an even if statement. It's an even if statement. Even if you believe the dumb narrative you've concocted in your head when you trying to justify violence in, legally he still would be under the parameters of being. There's no laws that say you can't take your kids to the protest. But I'll take mine, probably not. But did he do his? He didn't. He was just going home. And I think that's a lot of other things right now that people are being purposely obtuse and concocting narratives that purposely manipulate or purposely misrepresent what's happening. Because it's like, nah, you want to make it about the law still.
And the irony
what was Renee doing against the law?
But the
Tell me.
irony of that misinterpretation, right, is like in the same way the state can understand that this ICE agent hasn't had enough training, may have had like less than ideal circumstances, and so they may need a little bit more assistance to quote unquote get them up to speed and like make them better, right? The same ones that can understand that will then put the entire brutality of the state onto that father who is trying to come home, right? Who may not have had the probable, who may not have had certain education opportunities, who may not have had certain opportunities here, who may need these certain things, right? They get the fist of the state, whereas these agents who are occupying somewhere else get a hand in understanding. And so that's how you know it's purposeful, because it's a picking and choosing of where to apply empathy. It's a picking and choosing of where to apply understanding. It's a picking and choosing of where to apply growth and who gets to grow and who gets to be better and who gets to understand, right? Because the question then remains, what is better? Better is better adherence to the state. And so if your existence is in any way, shape, or form in opposition to the state, then you are deemed as somebody who does not get the benefit of the doubt, who does not get the benefit of being able to grow, learn, exist, experience, any of that shit. Any of that shit. All you get is the fist of the state because you are the justification for that fist to exist. What happens when we give body cams to ICE agents? That means now a new company gets to open up and sell body cams to these ICE agents at a ridiculous rate, right? But we're the ones doing, but Minnesota's the ones doing fraud, right? Minnesota, Somali's are the ones doing fraud. But there's going to be this whole company that comes up tens of millions of dollars a year contract to go in and get you some body cam footage that all it does is re-traumatize you because the same state is going to do the same shit. The only difference is now it's caught in 4K. And now we might have some white ladies that are going to go out and march for a while. You feel me? And Homeland, I swear to God, it's been this Homeland Security account has been looking like a troll account for the past couple of days.
Hey, this is the official account. This is the official account. It's the official account. It's the official account. You know, shout out to everybody that's still being a part of the virtual research of a Me Search classroom experience. You know, usually I go lives on Wednesday mornings. Today I decided we're gonna go live a little special. And really be able to give us up to date on what's happening, because I see a lot of people in my comment sections on videos I've posted that's a little bit, you know, unaware of all the details we're getting into. So now I'm going to read a tweet that comes directly from the verified Homeland Security page. It says, reminder to all ICE agents, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties. Anybody who lays a hand on you or tries to stop you or tries to obstruct you is committing a felony. You have immunity to perform your duties, and no one, no city official, no state official, no illegal alien, no leftist agitator or domestic insurrectionist can prevent you from fulfilling your legal obligations and duties. The Department of Justice has made it clear that if officials cross the line into obstruction, into criminal conspiracy against the United States or against ICE officers, they will face justice. When I'm thinking about the bill that was proposed by Cory Booker, I'm not just trying to be an insufferable leftist that's going and saying any policy the state would concur is always X, Y, and Z. It's thinking about when Homeland Security and Stephen Miller are emboldened and have power to make statements like this, you thinking that you're going to be able to propose a bill that's going to create a better reality for us? It's like smoking dope and dog food, not responsive at all. It's like a whataboutism. It's dealing with the symptoms and not the actual root of the cause. It's like if I was dealing with the flu, you feel me? And I'm gonna say if I was dealing with a bacteria, goddamn, and you didn't want to cure me of the bacteria, you just want to deal with the symptoms. It's like, nah, I still got the bacteria. The issue is not that, you know what I'm saying, that they gotta have more training, or that they gotta have a mask, or that they gotta have be unmasked, or that they gotta have a body cam. The issue is that the government, the federal government, the Trump's administration, is giving them the ability to do what they're doing, how they're doing. And what we've seen is that he's been able to circumvent what a judge is saying, or what the law is saying, regardless of what's going down. We know that he says states' rights, but then he used the federal government and statements like that to disrespect states' rights. So when we start talking about curating policy and that's all you're doing, it come off as an empty signifier, because he don't need much policy, you know what I'm saying, to do what he's doing, how he's doing it.
It's him telling us in 4K that this is what the fuck they wanted to do. It's what they wanted to do this whole time. This was the plan for them the entire. They have deemed our state enemy combatants for some weirdo reason. The state that created tuna fish tater tot casserole is scaring the federal government.
And I think that's the thing too. I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing too, man. Like the way that fear gets commodified by the state and then gets distanced from human beings that actually experience it, it's kind of mind baffling because we see that state violence is always justified because they feel fear. The officer Jonathan Ross has said he feared for his life. You feel me? That, you know, Renee Good was going to run him over, and therefore he's justified with shooting her in the face 3 times. Even though the car's pulling away and he chased the car down a little bit. And to me, it's thinking about you as a human being, as a citizen. There is no justification ever for you to feel fear, and that means you get to act in self-defense, definitely not bodily harm, and definitely not deadly harm against a law enforcement. So it's thinking about how this works, especially when you start thinking, hey, Donald Trump, you said you didn't have the ability to deploy the National Guard during January 6th. And now you've been able to do it with people in all different instances. The last thing I'll say is this, man. We was talking, I say, let's say last month, just to make some time up, just to exaggerate a point. If it was last month, it still be like, look at how much has changed in 1 month. That was maybe 2 weeks ago. Look at how much has changed in that 2 weeks. So to me, it's thinking like we in the middle of a civil war, and the Democrats just don't want to see it as that. So much has happened in Minneapolis that after like right now it's 2020, it's 2025, 2026, and 2035, 2036. Minneapolis is going to be seen as ground zero for how the Civil War 2.0 was waged. I'll never forget, was it Melissa Fortman? That's her name? Melissa Fortman?
Melissa Hortman.
Melissa Hortman. What's the other dude that got shot?
That's Senator John Hoffman. But Melissa Hortman and her husband were both murdered by Vance Belter.
So you see what I'm saying? People that's watching this. I'm not using similes and metaphors to talk about a civil war. There's been blood that's been shed already. And there are different ways that Republican states are jumping in to send National Guards from that state into blue states.
But to speak,
there's also going to be ways. This too. Last thing, you know what? You snorting cat food and crack if you believe that ICE is not going to be present during these midterm elections, specifically in blue states.
For sure. But even back to like the point earlier, right, about like the insidiousness and like how none of this shit is normal. When Melissa Hortman and her husband were murdered, and he killed a dog too, dressed as a police officer. It was like we've had so many unprecedented moments within the last 5 years. I would just like a single precedented one, just one solid small precedented moment to be able to like as a palate cleanser, if you will. But when Melissa Hortman and her husband were murdered and John Hoffman and his wife were shot by the same person, Vance Belter, the federal government is the ones that are currently like charging him, right? But the federal government had no problem working with the state on that to gather evidence, to work with the BCA, to work with local officials in tandem for a federal case of something that happened in Minneapolis, right? But now we need to get the agent out in like an hour. We need to get him the hell up out of here. We're going to have the FBI come before the BCA comes. And now like the state doesn't have access to the vehicle in which Renee Good was murdered, and the state doesn't have any access to like any of the ballistics, any of the forensics evidence, any evidence that the federal government holds right now. They're not sharing any of it with the state. But what does the federal government then tell our Department of Justice to do that then results in 3 of the prosecutors resigning? It tells them to pursue charges against Renee Good's wife. We're living in the bad place, bro. Like there's like, I don't know if you've seen that show, The Good Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're living in the bad place, bro. Like that's the only example. Like I feel like Kirsten, whatever her name was, when she like realizes in that episode, like, oh, this is the actual bad place. Like this is the bad place.
You know what? Actually, I don't know what you're talking about. No, I thought you. I got to check it out. Somebody said, "Oh, Grease on YouTube." Shout out to you. Appreciate you for tuning in. Said that. Said it's an epic show. Shout out to everybody on Instagram too. I can't see y'all. I can't see y'all comments while I'm looking at my guests. But for the people that's listening to this right now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I'm finna play this video where you can hear agents saying "light them up" as they fire flashbangs. Now, for the people that's watching this right now and people listening to this right now, the important context is these agents are saying this in response to American citizens using their liberties and their rights. When you have federal agents throwing fire flashbangs at American citizens that's taking up their tools of democracy, this is what we call fascism. Hold on. Y'all. I want y'all to peep though. You feel me? Huey P. Newton said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. For me, that means that I get to pay attention to what the hell going on, collect me some data, and then figure out how I can use this data to understand and navigate and move what's going on. Right now, I'm positing this for people that just listening to this on audio. I'm showing my audience right now a picture of an agent wearing clothes, plain clothes. Plain clothes. Is that a red cup? What's that in his hand?
Probably. It looked like a red cup. It looked like Buddy got a solo cup.
So it looked like Buddy got a solo cup on, a regular jacket, a regular hoodie. His face got a little, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, the mask only going up to his lips, and he got a, you know what I'm saying, he got a beanie on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're an American citizen and you just going down the street or you in your home, and somebody like this come to your house, what's supposed to be your response? And according to that tweet I just read from Stephen Miller from the Homeland Security, you taking up your rights to defend yourself against somebody that's in plain clothes that don't got to identify themselves. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that? And listen, to listen, if Cory Booker, you and your team listening right here, I feel like you might listen to this and think like, I see Mr. List of slippage right there. The root of the cause, the root of the problem, the structure of the problem is that you and your bill and people are now starting to legitimize the escalation of presence of ICE in American communities. That's the problem. The problem is the mere presence of ICE being there. On top of this right here, I feel like I want to take this out of the screen right here. Let me just say this real fast. You know what I'm saying? Hold on real fast. I just want to just real get this off my chest real fast. To the Democrats specifically, that still want to pay respectability politics and act like the general media is still under the ignorance that we was in 2003. Donald Trump, a bunch of Republicans, Kamala Harris, a bunch of Democrats have already admitted that what we did in the war on terror was about oil. From a policy standpoint, the history of ICE comes from policies that came from the war on terror. There is no way you're going to trick us and insult our intelligence to make us believe the very response that y'all call out for not being a response for terror, but for being an exploitation and a land grab for oil. Now you want to use the exact policies that came from the war on terror, from the response on 9/11 to justify a policing force that's younger than Casanat. So when you start saying that we have to have the presence of ICE, you're forgetting that you've already removed the veil from a lot of folks' eyes. The smoke screen of fighting terror, it doesn't work right now so much that the Trump administration is copying and pasting a manufactured consent idea of the war on terror to justify releasing terror on American citizens. The general public, I'm a millennial. I'm 35 years old. When September 9/11 happened, I was in the 5th grade. And even at the 5th grader, I knew goddamn well what was happening was bonkers. It was crazy. You cannot trick us or not forget that you already admitted that everything that you created in terms of the war on terror happened nefariously in how you enforce those things and even how you fabricated them to make the community and make the public agree with them. ICE as an entity is birthed out of the fucked up response that led to Islamophobia in a whole bunch of Muslim communities being terrorized. That Islamophobic terror that was justified through, you know what I'm saying, goddamn 9/11 has now spilt over into the Latino community. And now you are able to inscribe the idea of the narco terror onto Maduro in Venezuela because you mastered that shit against the Latinos here. For the people watching this, and as I always say, man, consciously, I don't like how y'all always thinking about international shit. We got bullshit going on here in America. I'm showing y'all they will perfect something domestically and then transport it globally. Vice versa, the other way around. They will master something globally and then put it on our ass domestically.
Yeah.
Last thing I say in this rant. Hold on. Last thing I say in this rant. Last thing I say in this rant. My boy Jolly Ginger is out there in Minneapolis as well. And in Minneapolis, he's going to different people, different ICE agents, and saying, "You a veteran?" Some of them out there cosplaying, showing them like, I know they in the veteran because this fucking headpiece sound dumb. Laugh like that, thought like, boy, Jolly, you was funny as hell for that. Second one, though, is some of them are veterans.
I ain't seen a Proud Boy rally in a while.
Oh, the Proud Boy leader in there.
3%ers rally in a while.
Shit, they right now they live in a white supremacist wet dream. Living a white supremacist wet dream with literally you have license to racially profile and bring racial terror, white supremacist violence on whoever you feel like it. All you can do is talk about what? Come on, man.
Because all these institutions right now, the sole purpose of them is to enact as much cruelty and as much violence from the state as possible, right? And they're utilizing and weaponizing the institutional history that each of these organizations have in order for them to then have to run cover for the brutality of what they actually want to do, right? What is ICE but the IDF in a different costume? What is ICE but any of these other occupying forces in different costumes, right? And it's no surprise that most of ICE and most of Border Patrol did training with the Israeli forces for a very long time, learned those tactics of crowd control, learned those tactics of how to be able to get into things, but shit's not global though, right? Like shit ain't interconnected though, right? Like the struggle that's happening elsewhere ain't got nothing to do with what's going on over here at all, right? Like them wanting to create a base in Somaliland that gives them a structure within East Africa and bases over, like that ain't got nothing to do with it. That ain't got nothing to do with it. You feel me? And so the more that they're able to harm the Somali Americans here, the more that they know that they won't be able to get pushback from the international government in Somalia when they take their nah. I'm delusional. I'm thinking. Delusional.
Man, listen.
You feel me? And it's like at some point too, you also got to question what the fuck is the purpose of knowing what's going on, right? Because whether I know what's gonna happen or not, the state as it is right now, currently, has too many resources. No, I take that back actually, because I was going to say that the state has too many resources to fight against them, right? But what I also have noticed and observed often here, right, is that at the slightest bit of pushback, these motherfuckers is fickle. They are very, 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 very fucking fickle. And so it's very easy to be able to, it's very easy to be able to hold a mirror to their conduct and for them to be able to they cower quicker than community does because they don't have a vested interest in being in the community. They're an occupying force. They can just go somewhere else. But they know that the community is going to be the strongest fight because what else we got? It's just here. It's just this. I don't know. It's a lot. and I'm a little more charged now, but I think I kind of have to be because of the absurdity that continues, right? Like now, not only do we have to combat the state, we have to combat the state's cosplayers, right? You got a January 6th motherfucker named Jake Lang who's coming tomorrow to try to just rile up some shit. And this is the same person that puts Qurans in the mouths of severed pig heads and tries to like create some type of like conflict that way, right? And he's trying to bring his folks here and create a protest where they go from City Hall and march from City Hall to the largest Somali like public housing area anywhere out here that houses like thousands of Somali folks, right? And he thinks that that's going to end well. But the problem is this same person came here around the last time that we spoke and went to the federal building and was instigating conflict with other protesters. The state stood with him against us. And I'm very anxious that they try that again tomorrow and that the state chooses to, in keeping the peace, right, protect him and leave the rest of us at bay. And I see this in the way that they're already starting to move, in the difficulty to like be able to get city resources, right? I need to make a public apology for ever thinking that Jacob fucking Fry would do a good job at being the mayor. My mea culpa is mea culpa. I apologize, right? Because he has shown that other than saying fuck on television, he ain't finna do goddamn, he ain't gonna do nothing. Right.
Hey, I posted a video about Mayor Fraud. I'm talking shit about him, and you in the comment section on Instagram, and you was like, "Yep, he went back to his factory settings."
He just reverted.
That shit tickled me. I'm about to play this video, and before I play this video, I just want to remind everybody, you know what I mean, that this is the guy that went viral last week, 2 weeks ago. Actually, last week. To your point, that was last week, bro. I think that was last week. Actually, that's our time, and understanding the time being warped so much because Trump is just bombarding us and exhausting us to make what we losing track of time. But Mayor Fry is the same person that went viral for saying "Get the fuck out of my town, ICE." Remember that. I'm gonna play this clip. Remember, he's the mayor that went viral because he told ICE to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. That's what he said, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop. That is not helpful. Go home. We cannot counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos. And I have seen thousands of people throughout our city peacefully protesting. For those that have peacefully protested, I applaud you. For those that are taking the bait, you are not helping. And you are not helping the undocumented immigrants in our city. You are not helping the people that call this place home. ICE can leave, and this massive deployment can come to an end. We have filed litigation to hopefully make it so, and at the same time, I'm deeply concerned that we don't have that kind of time. This is already the second shooting that we've had in a week. People are scared. The atmosphere is tense. But again, there is another option. We can stop going down this route together. We'll open it to any questions. Anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop.
My question to you, are you taking the bait? And if you are taking the bait, will you stop?
I mean, he said stop, and he meant it. Right? It's like, what's the bait, bro? What's the bait? And that's the thing that kills me about politicians like Jacob and people that really just, they overload you with so much dumb that it like starts to fry your settings of ability to respond in any type of like cogent way, right? If we don't take the bait, right, then what's going to happen? Like, we're taking away his opportunity to cuss on television again. We're taking away his opportunity to like cry because he feels so bad about a situation. We're taking away his ability to write a strongly worded letter, right? Because people who lead like Jacob only understand leadership as a response to something, never as a preventative tool. They will lead you in a response and they'll lead you in a reaction, but they will never ever do the work of actual prevention and doing things on the front end, right? And it's part and parcel of every one of his policy positions. If you look at the fact that the city has spent millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars sweeping unhoused people and throwing away their basic documents, brutalizing them over and over and over again, instead of making the cogent step of investing on the front end and being able to help out individuals secure long-term housing, being able to put them in spaces and solutions that we know work and have proven to work. But instead of doing that, right, we can look real patriarchal on television and we can tell people, don't you dare take the bait, even though you know that a federal force occupying, one that you acknowledged yourself was here, is not fucking bait. It is a occupational force against your own people. That is not bait. And any response that people have from that is a logical response. And it is in no way, shape, or form a leadership stance to then say, no, how you respond is what's more important than what you're responding to. And for me, I will always, always, always exist in a way where like the thing that's being responded to, the main fucking thing remains the main thing. Simple. The main thing has to always remain the main thing. I'm not in any position to tell nobody. None of them are in any position to tell nobody, you feel me, how to respond, because none of his family members are getting abducted. Ever. Like, his family members ain't about to be the ones that are going to get abducted by the state. You feel me? Like, his family members aren't the ones that are going to be harmed, right? Like, his community will, but his family's not. The people that he interacts with on a day-to-day basis aren't. So because the weight and the hammer of the state never actually directly comes upon people, then they can focus on the responses, right? Because that still allows for them to exist on the moral high ground. They can focus on the reactions because it allows them to exist on the moral high ground. But those individuals who are affected, who are on the menu today, right, have to focus on front end issues, because you will be eaten otherwise. You will be consumed otherwise. And so instead of allowing yourself to be consumed, we organize to prevent the consumption in the first place.
Yeah, I see somebody in the comments said 9/11 triggered America's foreign policy. I could not disagree with you more. I could not disagree with you more. A lot of times in America, we're taught that a lot of people hate us because we're better than them and because we're America. And they don't teach us that there's a long legacy, a long history of America military being able to go cause havoc and wreak hell on other folks that's not in America throughout the global community. So when you start thinking about why other people in the world got beef with America, it's because we cause havoc in your shit. You don't have to be in America for you to have to always worry about what's going on in America. It's something that I've learned from just following other people and making relationships with other folks that's not in America. A lot of times they don't like us as citizens because they feel like they got to know more about what our government do and what our government is doing than we do. And
yeah,
that means
it affects their life. Like, if they don't know who the government is mad at today, they don't know if they might be bombed because of it. We out here Deboing our way through the entire world and are wondering why people ain't fucking with us. You took their grandmama's chain.
Hey man. I'm trying to find one last video. Here my kids just got home. Time to get on daddy duties. Shout out to everybody tuned in, man. I go live every Wednesday morning, man. 10:30 Central, pull in with me. I think this is actually, I'm gonna let you say your last things to the people. I'm gonna pull up a video and I'm gonna say my last things. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna be out.
Man, I think the main thing that I think people need to understand, right, is like what I tell people all the time. You may not be on the menu today, right? You may not be the thing that's going to be consumed today, but pay attention. Pay attention, because at the point that a community is fully consumed, right, the insatiable beast of white supremacy will need to find a new meal, and you're probably going to be on the plate next. And so you can take the moral high ground. You can take all of the like, oh, this is never going to happen to me. You can find all of the reasons why like these things aren't normal, right? But at the end of the day, you may not be on the menu today, but your time will come. And so act in the way that you would want people to support you, support others in the way that you would want to be supported. And like in these times of crisis, the best thing that we could possibly do is be there for one another and have grace and give each other grace, especially understanding that like the federal government is not giving any of us grace. And like stand with each other, choose the courageous thing, choose the scary thing, right? Like choose the hard thing and be there for the people. And the final thing that I will say is like the people can know that they are right because even nature is on our side, right? Like there's blizzards every single time they try to do large scale actions, right? And like I'm Muslim, so there's certain times, there's like battles where oftentimes they would talk about the ways in which like birds would drop hot clay on the enemies of the prophet, right? During battles, the nature, like the entire like resources in nature bends to what's right. And so know that you're right, and fuck ICE, and fuck ICE, and fuck ICE.
Yes. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, man. I really appreciate everybody that's tuned in with me this afternoon on Friday. If you're listening to this not on Friday, still appreciate you for tuning in. A lot of times us as a community, us as a society, we start to chastise other people into having our strengths. Something that I feel like we always reminded our students, especially when I was a high school student, is that nobody can do everything, but everybody can do something. And I know that's very cheesy, but I think I got me a perfect video to kind of back up what I'm getting into. I hope that this is able to, really touch y'all. And then I'm gonna get out of y'all way, man. Education is elevation. If you're looking for any resources or to be in community, I definitely encourage you to subscribe to my Substack channel. My newsletter is over there, as well as being in community that don't have trolls, that don't have people moving in bad faith, and for us to really be able to share articles and conversations and memes and all that thing, man. Substack is also where I host my weekly lives at, where you also get access to the to these videos turned into a podcast, man. But stop shaming people for not doing activism your way.
Everybody cannot be the protester. That is not how movements work. Some people do protest, some educate, some create connections that lead to resources, some make art that shares culture. If we shame everybody into one lane, we lose the whole ecosystem. Movements need variety and not purity tests, because everybody has a role and they're not going to look the same.
Just a friendly reminder. Everybody has a role. It's not going to look the same. It's not going to look the same. So you pulling out your ruler to try to measure how somebody else is moving and y'all moving differently, it does us all a disservice. All of us have a different vantage point and different portable skills. Metaphorically speaking, using history, we don't expect for the enslaved person that's on the porch to have the same strategy or move the same way as the enslaved person that's on the street, or the slave person that's on the plantation, or the enslaved person that's inside the house. We don't expect the enslaved person that is doing a chicken coop to move and have the same resources or have the same way of resisting as the same person that's picking cotton. Even when you think about, even more contemporary examples, every time we start thinking about oppression and violence, your vantage point and how you position usually dictates your method and your strategy. Meaning, it's always important to see that we are positioned differently. I don't expect for everybody to move the way I move. Don't expect for everybody else to move the way that you move, especially when it comes to resistance and liberation. We have an ecosystem. We need artists. We need activists. We need teachers. We need dancers. Hate to say it, but we need politicians. That's the reason why me on folks ahead like Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries and the rest of y'all. And the last thing I say with this too, actually, and I'm out your way. When you want to use identity politics to shield certain individuals from criticisms and you don't think about other people that have that same identity, I know a lot of us like to think about and talk about, different Black women like Kamala Harris or Jasmine Crockett. I would implore to both liberals and leftists alike to start thinking about women, Black women like Cori Bush. If you feel like Black women get unfair criticisms, think about the various ways that Cori Bush got pushed out of her spot by AIPAC because she did not want to pledge allegiance to him. If you feel like Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett should have did more, should be doing more, our good sister Cori Bush could use some of our support, some videos, some likes, some comments, some shares. We live in an attention economy. Wherever you put your attention at, it's going to slide by and give them capital. The reason why consciously is because I've been able to flip y'all attention into capital. We live in an attention economy. We live in a visibility economy. A lot of ways that y'all give visibility to Black women y'all claim y'all hate could also be given to Black women that you love or that fit the criteria that you could love. For all the people that say you only go after Black women, X, Y, and Z, I think this Black woman right here is being came after by an entity that would love to have some community and safety and comfort in order for us to come to her and mobilize around her like we do to other Black women. I think there's some class critiques maybe, and some other critiques to give how we start to think about different Black women based off of how palatable and consumable they are for how you understand politics and how you want to ascribe politics. But I think there's definitely something there. Education is elevation. Research over me search is being real. I implore you to take care of your neighbor. I'm currently doing my own theme song while I'm writing for Research over me search. Shout out to Mr. Rogers. It'll make sense soon. It might.
I guess we gonna see where the sense is made. Seems as though bro fell off the chat. Hi y'all. How's it going? I guess I'm conscious for a moment.
Hey, that was a malfunction, man.
You was making the point so well that the computer couldn't handle it, bro.
You feel me?
We overwhelmed the bandwidth.
I think Peter Thiel and Planetary, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into that next time, man. But shout out to y'all. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Pull up on me next Wednesday. That's coming Wednesday morning. See y'all.
Spontaneous percussion.